Hello everyone. Today we're going to have our SAP Access walkthrough and Q&A. So first thing I'm going to do is just share my screen. So basically we have a full hour slotted today just for any questions that you guys may have. I feel like sorry, start over. So today it's going to be me, Sarah Blackman. I'm the Customer Success and Dedicated Access Manager. And then we also have Claire on the line here to help answer questions. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Yes, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, my name is Claire Albaum, and I am the training manager at Micromanagement. And so I will be helping with questions today. So any questions you have for Sarah, go ahead and type that in to the questions tab. We will get that answered for you. And for everyone who's watching from YouTube, from our live stream, please submit your questions as well. So that is our main goal of today, is to help you with any questions that you have. So we are readily available and happy to help you with all that. So Sarah is incredibly knowledgeable. So thank you, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And, nobody knows everything about SAP, so sometimes we may have to parking lot or table some questions, but we will also give you our follow-up information so that you can ask questions that you might think about later, and we have a lot of ways to stay in touch. So probably one of the most common questions that we get about the SAP GUI access is people will say, hey, this looks different than what I'm used to, or this just doesn't look like the one I use at work. So what a lot of people don't realize is there are actually a lot of different themes and settings. Probably the most two common or default are going to be the Belize and the SAP signature theme. So if your GUI just doesn't look right, it doesn't look how you're used to, because there are a lot of differences and variations between these settings. What you want to do is you want to go into the SAP GUI options and then visual design and theme settings. Typically, like I said, if you're not sure, you just know it doesn't look right, try Belize first. And then I'll even show you mine. So I have mine in Belize, but I have a nice custom color settings, but here's how you get into the options. It's basically up here. And there you have your list. So the only thing that might be a little tricky if you're not sure what you're looking for is that the changes do not apply automatically. You have to kind of relaunch the GUI to see them change. So it might take some trial and error, but Belize is usually what you're looking for. Another common question we get is just how to log into the SAP GUI. So it's pretty simple if you have your login already set up. And if you don't have your login already set up, we do have a PDF and a video walkthrough guide, all of which are free to help you with that. But once it's done, you just double click the name of the system that you want when you're inside your SAP logon pad and click log on. Then it's going to ask you for your username and your password, essentially. Pretty simple once you get this connection set up. So here you can see you also have the client ID option. So this is something that you want to pay close attention to, because if the client ID option is not correct, it doesn't matter what you put in here, it just won't work. So you can click around or you can hit enter to toggle through these options, and you'll see here you also have your language option. I believe we have 5 different languages pre-installed into our systems. So you do have some different options. SAP is global after all. Another big heavy hitter and something that I recommend everybody do with their SAP Access GUI is to set a favorite. I know that when I use my GUI, I have a couple transactions that I run almost every day. So instead of memorizing all these T codes, you can just favorite them so that you can double click them from your menu tree and not have to be typing T codes in all day. And I find it just a little bit faster than having to go back up to the OK command field code. You're clicking around closer, you're not moving as much. So you're going to right click on the favorites folder to insert transaction, and then drag and drop the transaction from the SAP menu to do that. You can also go in and change your user settings. So to do that, you're going to go into More, System, and User Data. This is handy because, again, SAP is global, and the way that dates look, the way that decimals look, the way that numbers look, they're just different in different countries, and you probably have a preference. So you might as well set it up to your preference so that it looks the way that you want it. I think this is really just a fun thing to do in your SAP GUI. It's just explore the SAP menu. There's so many folders and options. You could be drilling down for several levels for sure, but check out some of the main modules. You'll just get kind of a better understanding of how everything works and interlocks. And this is just one of those things where you can just kind of dig around. You don't even have to really do a T code. You can just see where everything is. I know this is probably, when I very first learned SAP, I could sit and do this for like half an hour and just be amazed by how much there is in there. So here's a really common transaction. The T code is MM60. So if you wanted to type the T code in manually, you could do /n MM60 and hit enter and pull up this materials list from the database. So this is just, something that people use all the time. So we just thought we'd show a few common transactions. Sales orders, who doesn't like sales orders? And that's going to be T code VA05. And this just gives you an example if you were to run the T code, what that would look like. And then again, here's a really common general ledger account display T code FBL3N. And it shows all the different options. So as you can see, it's not the easiest software in the world. All these screens look totally different, and they have lots and lots and lots of options and things to fill out. And that is why Access is only part of our company. Training is just as an important part, if not bigger, because you could get lost in here really easily, right? These are just a few of the really common and more simple transactions, almost, you could say. And wow, look at all that there is. Error messages, they definitely happen in SAP. Just inevitable with something that large, or software in general, right? So troubleshooting error messages is part of the process, especially if you're practicing implementation or migration. It's just going to happen in real life, so we might as well get used to it, right? So you have a lot of resources at your fingertips to help with the error messages. You can Google it, right? We all have the Google box in our hand or in front of our laps or on our desk these days. It's probably my favorite thing about living in the modern age, is that I don't have to wonder too long. Usually I can Google stuff. So Google it, you'd be surprised, and check the SAP forums. But also we have a free error code lookup tool on our website on the infographics page, which is extremely handy as well. So here are some practice exercises that we could recommend people to try to start with if they're just not really sure what to do with your SAP Access. I will say there's not any really like practice exercises included with the subscription itself. Keep in mind, this is just SAP Access. It is not training. It is not guides. It is not consultation. So if you don't know anything about SAP yet, don't jump into Access first, please, because what are you going to do? Run these 3 transaction codes, and then you really won't know what to do other than click around in the menu tree, like I was talking about before. It's just overwhelming. There are way too many options to just kind of be let loose like the wild, wild west in there. But here are some really common materials management transactions: MM60, MMO3, MMO1. And then again, we have sales orders, VA05, VA03, VA01. I'm not going to sit and run through all of these transactions today, just because we did see examples of most of them on the screen, but these are ones that I would encourage you, to try if you're just not sure what to do or do next. And then I have a set of general ledger accounting ones as well. So, I wouldn't recommend necessarily even doing all of these unless you're not sure what you want to do yet, but you can kind of pick what's closest to what you want to learn and run those. So I just want to mention back to our free resources we were talking about today. So this is the infographics page that I mentioned earlier that has that nice free error code lookup tool. There's also SAP tables, downloads, ebooks, a couple really nice flow charts and cheat sheets, especially the FICO one is probably my favorite. And we add things to it all the time. All you have to do to get anything off this page is just be registered for our website, and that's it. It's completely free. I wrote this handy blog right here as well, and that will kind of walk you through what to do from purchase to setup in getting your SAP Access subscription going. And then again, here's the error message lookup tool that we talked about earlier. Probably one of my favorite tools that we have. Definitely saves me a lot of time because it's even easier than Googling, right? You just put the message right there into the tool. And then we have more resources. Of course, we are Michael Management. We do all things SAP. So we have lots of different styles of courses, and these are some of my favorite offerings that we have. Simulation courses. So earlier when I said, hey, if you're not really sure how to use SAP yet, please don't start with Access. It will not be very useful to you. This is where we recommend you start instead, because not only is it training, but you have a simulation system. Basically, you have a miniature version of SAP Access built into the course. You are learning by watching and then doing. You are clicking, you are entering T codes, you are navigating in a demo or dummy system right there within the course. So that is where you want to start. If you say, hey, I really learned by doing, but I don't know anything yet, I don't know what to do, this is the kind of course for you. And this is how we recommend really everybody start to train. And this is how I learned SAP. Also, we have these live jumpstart courses, which come in super handy. Sometimes you are really, you're in a bind. Maybe you really, really need a new bookkeeper that knows SAP, and you just have to get somebody up and running right now. That's what these courses are for, and that's their accounts payable, quick hour or two class to just really get you up and going so that you can do what needs to get done in SAP. And then I would always recommend to go back and, train a little bit more in depth. But if you got to train somebody fast and get something going fast, this is where you want to start. And then this is our one-on-one SAP Access sessions, and I actually host these. So like we said before, I mentioned a lot of free resources, PDFs, videos, a blog on how to walk you through setting up the GUI, installing it, setting up the connection. But it can be tricky for some people, or some people just simply don't have the time to do it. So for a one-time fee, you can book me. I'll screen share with you basically, and I'll take over your computer. You can go have some coffee, or you can watch me if you want, but I'll just set everything up for you so that all you have to do is type in your username and password and you're good to go. And we will confirm and make sure it's all up and running and working before I get off the session with you. So that is something that is available for someone who just needs a little bit more help to do the install and the setup process. And that is the end of our slideshow. So I know I talked kind of fast. So did anyone have any questions or anything that they wanted me to kind of go back and touch on?
I did have 2 questions come in, Sarah, and I also wanted to mention for anyone that is watching this that we do have 3 free courses that we just published as well. So those are a good place to start. We have one that's sort of a very intro to SAP that I have personally taken as well. I think it's a really good intro course. So that also can give you a little taste of kind of what other content looks like. Let's see, and then I will.
Yeah, that is really handy because we did just add those, so I don't believe that's made it onto the slideshow yet. And then also, if that's something you're interested in and you want me to send you a direct link to it, please just email us at info@michaelmanagement.com, or hop on our live chat, and me or one of my lovely assistants will be here to help you, because I love to see people get those courses. You do get a certification for it that you can easily add on your LinkedIn, just like you do with all of our courses. And if anyone is interested in seeing what that looks like on LinkedIn, feel free to add me. You can find me as Sarah Black or Sarah Black Mon, M-O-N at the end. I have my certifications listed there, so you can just kind of see what it looks like and we can connect. I do know that a new version of SAP just launched very recently, so we will eventually have that available, I'm sure, but not just yet. But for right now, we do have S/4HANA 2020 with and without ABAP, so you can develop if you wish. We have ECC 6 on EHP 8, and then we have a special, and that's with and without ABAP as well. And then we have a special ECC system for security and basis training. Essentially, it's for SAP all users. It's a unique server. It does not have much data, so it resets every 30 days. So unless you actually need a security train, I don't recommend using it, but that is definitely an interesting offer that we have that I don't see at a lot of places. And of course, we offer dedicated clients for sales demos, training teams, just a variety of uses. And that is becoming a more and more popular offering, for sure. Just as SAP grows and expands as everything else. I know we all saw supply chain kind of fracture across the last year and a half. So just as time goes, a lot of places are suffering right now. SAP is not. I would say that if you're watching this and you're thinking about, okay, it's time for me to train in something useful, you're picking the right thing. It's not easy, but it's useful and it's not going to go anywhere. So with that being said, unless we have any other questions, I'll close out. But please do reach out to us on live chat or on email at info@michaelmanagement.com. We want to help you.
I do have one question that came in before we head out. And if at this point, please type in your questions. We're happy to answer those before we jump off. So the question is about configuration. They're asking if they can create their own configuration in our systems.
Yeah, so, and some people call that SPRO, but yes, you can do that in any SAP Access subscription that we have. You do not have to purchase the developer option to do config. You are free to do that.
Awesome. Okay, wonderful. Well, I don't have any more questions on my end. Looks like you don't have any more coming in. So thank you so much, Sarah.
You're welcome, and thank you all for joining us, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Bye.